Hey guys, this is Jeff on Entrefied Podcast tonight. Listen, Entrefied means entering into your success. So we look for those values and habits and things like that will add value to your life. So I hope you get a lot from this. I want to go ahead and get started. What I'd like to talk about right for a minute is what is your goals? Let's take your goals for a minute. What are they? All right, examples, you maybe want to be a millionaire or a billionaire, or you maybe want to be a teacher or a realtor, or, you may want to get in shape and get six-pack abs, okay? So, or you may just want to get a lot of cardio and have energy. That matters to me nowadays. I'm starting to see that, as I get older, the energy is not as good, and I need to start looking more into that. But I want you to imagine your dreams are possible, for the things that you really want, because here's the thing. If you can't even believe it, it's going to be hard to achieve it. So imagine your dreams are possible for a minute. You must believe to have that better shot of reaching them. It's like wanting to run a mile. If you don't believe that you can run a mile, you're probably not going to make the first step. So guys, I would encourage you to at least get a vision on what you want and try to get some sort of confidence or some affirmations or something to try to reach that point where you start believing some of the stuff that you're trying for. And you may say, well, how do you do that? Well, one of the things that you can try to do is try to be positive and try to get more knowledge on the area that you're trying to achieve. A lot of times, the more practice, the more knowledge you have on something, it builds your confidence. It's because of the uncertainty, the fear, the lack of knowledge a lot of times that we worry and we start to think, hey, maybe I can't achieve that dream. The thing of it is, most people have achieved those things that you're probably wanting. So what do you need to do mentally to be able to reach that? Now, there are physical, things that you have to do as well. But I can tell you, if you don't have the mental equivalent, it's going to be hard to even reach the physical equivalent, and I mean, being able to do what you need to do that's necessary to reach those goals. So that's the first thing, is making sure your mental equivalent is right. And that may sound like, well, that's just theory, but the truth is that you've got to be able to have that mental equivalent to reach that physical expectation. That height, you have to be able to reach that. So to be a millionaire, let's look at that for a minute, because a lot of people nowadays, they want to be a millionaire. They want to be financial independent. They don't want to work for anybody anymore, that kind of thing. So to be a millionaire, let's just look at that for a minute. What would you need to do? I do have a point here. Stay with me, guys. You may have to be willing to invest your time, your energy, your money. Things have a profit margin. So let's say you look at a real estate, options trading, or, you have a unique business selling widgets. Where is the demand? That's one of the main questions that you can ask. What is it that I'm working for? Where's the demand? What does the customer want? Those are all valid questions of, how you're going to be able to achieve profit, right? Because you've got to be able to sell something. Whatever that dream is, whether it's being a millionaire or just getting out of debt, write some of the things down that you want to achieve. And I've mentioned this before, but again, I have a point. I want you to start to think about what you're going to need to achieve on top of your goals. So if I wanted to be a teacher, what would I need to do to be a teacher? Well, you're going to have to go to college. You're going to have to get a degree. You're probably going to have to take some kind of entrance exam even after that to be able to prove that you're able to teach at that level. So you'll probably still have to take tests, to at least get in the door. And I think there's extra, curriculum after that they have to go through. But the point is, whether it's teacher or whatever it is, when you get to that point, there's certain things that you have to do. And this is where I want to take you right here. This is what I want to talk about. Right now in this day and time, with everything going on, it's probably wise to have 6 months saved of your salary, regardless of what your dreams are. You need to have some sort of emergency fund. Okay. That's very important to have that. But, with that said, with that having that 6 months that you have, you can then start to, think more towards your dreams. Now, I'm not against your dreams. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, okay, well, I got to put your dreams completely on hold. But what I am saying is you have to get to a point that you realize that things don't always go as planned in life, in physical life. I mean, it may be in your mental idea of dreams and, oh, well, everything just works out, but you need an emergency fund. If you can start with just $5,000, if you can get to a point that you can get $5,000 and have a little cushion, that's one of the main things that you need to do. You know, I've heard it said that if you ever get to that point, you won't ever be broke again. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I can tell you having a little cushion makes a big difference. I was real big into investing, and I like investing, and I still like investing. But as time has went on, I have become more of a saver too. You know, I used to think that, you know, investing was basically the way to go. And if you invested right, you didn't have to have those savings. You know, really, I mean, that's how I seen it. And I'm not saying I was completely wrong, but you have to realize that you do need an emergency fund. Not everybody, including myself, we can't predict exactly what's going to happen on everything in life. So why not have that? So I want you to write down what you want to achieve. You know, I mentioned that. So I'm not against your goals, but don't put the emergency fund on the back burner. It needs to be one of the first things that you do. I want you to imagine the outcome of whatever you want to achieve. Imagine what all you need to do and see it as already done. Okay? That's one of the things I want to talk to you about. Now, the question is, do you think you would have accomplished this goal? This may sound a little confusing, so let me go back over this for just a minute. All right, so you've got your goal. Now, let's say it's a teacher, okay? Well, I want you to imagine what all you have to do. Now, you have to find some knowledge on this. You have to go out and research what you got to do, okay? You know you got to get a degree. You got to do a lot of different things there. So now I want you to imagine it as if you've already done those things. You see yourself as already doing them. What's the likelihood that you would be a teacher? I'm using this as an example, guys. What I'm trying to tell you is if you will go find out whatever the success principles is in the area that you're in, whether it's, you know, like I said, it's being a teacher, a tutor, a babysitter, or it's being an astronaut, or, you know, a electronic engineer, or working for some famous company, you know, whatever that is. And you go and you say, okay, here's the research I've done. I'm going to imagine, okay, the things I'm going to have to do. And now I'm going to ask myself, do I think that I would be a success in this? In other words, you're imagining all of this stuff out, whatever that main goal is for you. And then you ask yourself, okay, is this something I can do? And here's the next question. Is it something you even want? That's the thing, because there's a lot of work that goes into this, obviously. But I want you to start to think about the outcome you're going to have without putting in the work. And I know some people would disagree with me here. They say, oh, just go put the work in, go figure out if that's what you want. What if you could get a little research knowledge and then you could start putting them in place? You start, okay, I need a degree in this. I need to go to college for this amount of time. I need this amount of money. I need this amount of loan to get that. I'm going to have to live with in an apartment, or I'm going to have to live on campus, or I'm going to be able to live with my mom and dad, or I'm going to be able to live on my own. You've got to factor all of those things. What if you've done that and you just said, okay, this is the list. Okay, now I'm going to imagine that I've already done it. And when you look at that, you think, wow, I think I can do this. This is something I think I can do. And on top of that, after I do all this, imagine the outcome of what I'll have, you know, where I want to try to go to school. In other words, you're mapping out what you want. But on top of that, you're imagining as it's already happened to you right now in this moment. That gives you a power of being able to think forward. And a lot of people may minimize that. I think it's very powerful. I think it's super powerful. If you'll get this concept, you'll start applying it. But that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. But I mentioned earlier that emergency fund. Don't forget that, guys. Don't forget your emergency fund. You know, I could go on and on and on about this, but after you've saved that 6 months of income, it might take you a lot of time to get there. It could. It might be, you know, it might be something you can do real fast. It might not be. Whatever it is, if it's just $10 a pay period, you know, Well, you're getting paid when I say pay period, let's say you get paid twice a month. That's a pay period. It'd be two pay periods for that month. Even if it's just $10 a pay period, or if it's less, I'm telling you, start to save some and get your emergency fund up. Hope you got that. Who will you be accountable to? That's one of the things I also wanted to talk to you about. You know, so many people may feel that they're not accountable for themselves or anybody. You know what I mean? They're not accountable to anybody. They just live. They do what they want to do whenever they want to do it. They don't even have to think and plan their life. They're not accountable to themselves, not accountable to nobody. Well, that's one way to live. But what I'd like to encourage you to do is start to be accountable to people that is setting goals and is going to make you stronger. It's going to make you better. You know, be accountable to reach those goals, to reach those expectations if they're good for you. You know, people want good things for you sometimes. If they're family or things like that, sometimes they might want good things for you. Sometimes it might be hard. And we say, well, you just don't understand how to get there. You don't understand what I've got to go through. Here's the question. Is it going to make you better? Is it something you want? You know, well, then get off of the complaining trip and start looking at what you need to do to get there. If it's something you want, stop fighting the people that, yeah, maybe they have their own, you know, reasons for you doing what you do. Maybe they do. But if it's going to make you better and it's something you want, stop getting off the complaining thing and just start looking at it as, okay, this is going to make me better. Who am I going to be accountable to? You know, it doesn't matter if they're your boss or if they're your friend. If you need to start being accountable at least to yourself, where you're saying, look, what's going to make me better in my life? What am I going to be able to do? You know, there is things that you have to plan. There are things that you could do. You could be a better person. You could have a lot of different things in a lot of different areas. Start being accountable to your success. And those, even though that may be tough on you, if it's better for you, if somebody wants you to do a lot of stuff, you know, it's really tough. You know, they've got their own motivation. What I'm trying to say is if it's going to make you better, sometimes it's the pressure. It is the pain that we go through. If we can use that energy, that will make us better. It'll make us great sometimes. I don't know if you're getting anything from this, but what I'm trying to say is instead of having to wait to be accountable to somebody, start being accountable to people that's going to make you better. In other words, it's going to make you blessed in that process. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you better. I mean, yeah, you might not have to tell somebody like your boss, you know, well, you know, maybe your boss is hard on you. Maybe he's not. Maybe she's not. Maybe she is. Who knows? But what I'm trying to say is when they need something from you, you can look at it as a point of view. And we all have issues with this. I'm not saying we don't. There's going to be days that we're not perfect. We're not feeling good or whatever the case is. We're not acting right. We can start to look at it as it's another thing to do, or we can start looking at it as I get this opportunity. You know, and so many times in life, we look at things with the wrong perspective. I mean, you know, some of us can hear, see, you know, talk, you know, feel. We have that and we take it for granted. It's really an opportunity every day that you get up. You know, you can maximize your moments. And that's where you get into the point where you're thinking, okay, listen, I'm blessed. I got these things. And you actually think about these things. I mean, really think about them. If you could get to the point where you thought about that truly with a gratitude feeling every morning, the things that you had, you'd be much more appreciative because we get it easy sometimes. We want more. We want more. And then we want more. What I'm trying to tell you is we start to be grateful for where you're at and start moving forward wherever you're at. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect for you. Maybe you got it a lot worse than I do. Maybe you got it a lot better than I do. But what I'm trying to tell you is a lot of times we don't get to choose that. What we get to choose is how we deal with now and what we do from now. I would encourage you to maximize your moments. And that means making sure you're getting the most out of the day. And that means getting over your bad attitude. Who cares? A lot of times if you've had a bad day, a lot of people don't care. They don't. They may care about you. They may listen to you, but in the end, tomorrow, they're going to forget about it. They're going to move on. So why are you spending so much time thinking about it? It's like, we want somebody just to hear us, Get to the point where you start looking at maximize your moments and letting the stuff that don't matter go. And start thinking about, okay, what do I need to do next? What's the thing that I get to do? Where's the opportunity? Yeah, I get to do this, because there's a lot of people that would love the opportunity to be where you're at, wherever that is most of the time. They'd love to have that opportunity. You think, well, nobody want to have to deal with what I have to deal with. There is people in hospital beds. There's people in comas. There's people all across the world that's dealing with things that we're not dealing with. And those people are suffering, and here we are, some of us, and we've got good things. And I mean, I'm not saying we don't have our troubles, but sometimes we overlook those things. But I would encourage you to maximize your moments. I keep going over and over that. I hope you're getting it. Here is a goal that you can do every day. Was I accountable to the right people today? How can I be better today? How can I be better tomorrow? Here's another good thing to think about when you make a goal. Get the knowledge in the area that you need. Number 2, if you're watching the video, I'm highlighting these, by the way. Look for what works. The secret success principles. I think I said that a little bit wrong. These success principles. Model people. Read books. Get the information you need. Maybe watch videos. Your mindset like this will help you. This mindset. A good mindset will help you achieve more, because you can believe for more. So get knowledge in the area that you want. Look for what works. Expect problems. Just expect it. But here's what I want you to do. Turn off the complain side of things. Who cares, man? Who cares, lady? You know what I mean? They may care for a little bit. Just get over it. Do what is necessary that you need to do, that's productive, that makes you happy, that gets things done. Nobody cares. They may for a little bit, like I said, but tomorrow they probably forgot all about it. They've got their own problems. I'm not saying we can't vent. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is we need to get to the point where we're feeling good about ourselves. Do you really feel good about feeling bad, about having to talk about people? You may say you have to talk about people, have to get it out. You really feel good about that? Or could you just learn to let it go and focus on something else? Focus on the positive. Start to realize that certain people are the way they are. And rather than you just dote on it all the time, start thinking, you know what? I know that's how they are. Why do I need to worry about that? Let's think about something that matters. Keep going over that. Get knowledge in the area. Look for what works. Expect problems. Put in the hard work. Persist and adapt. If you can do that and keep getting knowledge and keep putting action in, it's a good chance you're going to win at the good things in your life. Doing the best in your day sets up for the next moment, whether they have anything to do with that goal or not. Well, this right here is so golden. So golden. Guys, I hope you're really getting this, because it's so true. I've talked about pre-planning a lot, and I try to do this today. It's something I've done today. I wrote out basically my whole day, what I was going to do at specific times of the day. And there's some of them I didn't get done. One of them I still yet to do. Will I get it done? I don't know. But I'll tell you this, I've got a lot more done than what I normally would do. And what I try to do is make that list, right? And then I also put time behind it. So if you're writing this down, get the podcast notes, by the way. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Entrefied. It's ENTREFIED.com. And watch the video. And you can also get the podcast notes right there too by just clicking the link, because I usually put up the podcast notes. I probably will on this one too. But get that, okay? But doing the best, like I said, every day sets you up for that next moment. But what I'm trying to talk about is that pre-planning your day. You know, those times that you put, okay, listen, I'm going to be doing this today. This is the next thing. You just put a little jot of time. Okay, this is from 10 to 10:30 or 10, and next thing's 11. And then you know that you had an hour in between that, right? So then 11 to 12, you put something, you start to work on those things. You say, okay, I'm going to do all of this today. There's going to be times where you're not going to be able to accomplish all of it in the moment. But here's the thing. If you have that with you, you can see what you've done. You can see what you've accomplished. Just have a notebook, right? I mean, you can have a notebook. Here's what I do. Here's another thing I've been trying here recently. Take the notebook that you have, right? Write down the time, write down the things. Actually, I've just now started doing the time thing. But yesterday, I wrote down the things that I wanted to try to do, right? And then at the back of the book, I put like a piece, actually it's a piece of electrical tape, really, to be honest. And I doubled it over in the middle of the book. And that was my notes section, description section. So I hope you're getting this. This is kind of a visual. So I'm writing down in my book, okay? So it's something I need to do, okay? And if I've got some description notes that I need to do, I'll just take that and flip over to that section of the book and I'll write descriptions. So I have two things in this book. I have the notes, or not the notes, excuse me, the tasks that I want to do. And I also have the descriptions of things that pop up, right? And something that comes into my head or something I need to do, you know, but I need to have a little bit more description about it than just a task. And maybe it's just a note on how to go through that process that I don't want to take up on the page that I'm writing my to-do list. In other words, I don't want my task list to be 5 pages long because I wrote all these notes. I mean, so I may say, okay, I need to do this. See description, project of group, group project, and I put that and I'll say, okay, I'll flip over to the description section and I'll have group project. And then I'll have a description of it. I hope this makes sense. But guys, in other words, I hope you got something from that. But anyway, sometimes there's just things that need to be done, and you just need to write down tasks and start getting at it. It is important to be you, though. And I want to talk to you about that. I know this podcast has went on for a little bit. I'm highlighting on the screen here. Sometimes you're really not the person that you need to be or that you want to be at the time. And you may even get off track for a long time. Here's the thing. When you start to realize that you've messed up in life, here's what you got to do. You repent, you move on. You make, if you're not lived right with God, I would encourage you to repent of that. But sometimes repenting to me, if it's not repenting to God necessarily, if I'm not messed up, repenting means changing my mind and going a different direction, right? So if I've done something wrong, just look at it and say, hey, you know what? I could have done this better. What have I learned from this? Okay, let's move on. But how do you get back to you when it seems like you don't even remember who you really was? I mean, you've been doing what you needed to do and got so confused, let's say, and that you just lost a little bit of who you used to be. How do you do that? How do you get back to that person? And you wonder who that person is anymore. You ask yourself, well, who am I? You may have a lot of stuff in your life. You may have that kind of stuff in your life where you're thinking, okay, I've got a lot of things, but there's something, I've lost a little joy along the way. I'm just not the same as I used to be. What am I doing this for? These are questions that we wrestle with as humans. Well, here's a little thing that you can start to do. You can start doing some things that are you. Just write you down something that you can do. You can go and do and be happy, have some fun. Or, it could be anything. What is it that that represents who your personality is? Something that you like to do. You may just want to go bowling. It may be just a drive in the country for you. It could be a lot of different things. But start doing some of those little things that are you. You'll start to remember who you are. See, sometimes we get so caught up with work, life, family, and just all the stresses of life. Not the family stresses. I'm not saying that. But sometimes we get busy and forget what's important. And what's important sometimes It's spending time with your family. Your walk with God definitely is important. Whether you realize that or not, it is. But, make sure that you're spending the quality time in those areas. Battles have been won and lost, guys, before they were ever fought. With your life, you can try to map that out even months ahead. I know that sounds strange, right? But, I've heard it said, like I said, about the kings, that they would win the battle before they ever had anybody that was fighting it, because they'd already mapped it out. They already knew what was going to happen. And it may sound crazy hard to be able to map out your life like that. But, we've been talking about forecasting, really. We've been talking about forecasting what you want to accomplish in your life, what you see, what your goals, what you're going to need to do. And then after you know what you need to do, as I said before, you start thinking about, okay, can I actually do this? What would actually happen if I'd done that? And you imagine it in the moment that you're in. What would you accomplish? Can you do it? Is it something you want? So you can do that with a lot of things in your life. That if you can map out your life in weeks and months to some degree of accuracy, you've kind of got a vision, a plan. All right, guys. That way you can focus on doing what you need to do every day. And that's one of the most important things that I wanted to talk about today. So if you're with me here and you haven't turned me off yet, I want to tell you one important thing that you may think is not that important, but it is. If you can map out your week and your month, right, and you got that plan going on, here's what it's going to allow you to do. It's going to allow you to do what you need to do every day in the moments without having to strategically plan everything. You've already done the planning. You've already done that. So now you can maximize your moments. You can do what makes you happy today. You can do the things that you want to schedule fun today. You can schedule fun today. We got a lot of things to look forward to in a day. Sometimes it's our outlook. It's our mindset. But when you have everything mapped out, at least to a small degree, I'm not saying it's perfect because, the plan is, well, the plan don't happen exactly sometimes the way we think it ought to. It may work out like that, but sometimes it's a little bit different, than what we thought would happen. But at least we've got a plan. And it allows you to look at those moments, to do the things that you need to do in the day without having to constantly think, oh, I'm not prepared for this or I'm not prepared for that. Because you've already thought that way. You've already mapped that out. Doing the best thing in today's moments leads you to momentum and often to greater success. It's the moments that you're in that make the difference. So maximize your moments, guys. I hope you've got something from this today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.